Hi friends, welcome to Crafting and Relaxing. This is Sarah. Thank you so very much for joining me. Today I have spent some time digging through what I refer to as the cupboard of shame in my craft room. I've chosen materials for my cover for my July daily collaboration with Melodi of Making Memories with Melodi here on YouTube, and her website is melodymade.com, and it's Melodi with an I. She does junk journaling and kits for junk journalers and has a big Facebook group to teach people about it. If you watch my channel, you know that I do some junk journaling. I do a lot of cards, little cleaner style journals. But junk journaling is typically more of a private thing for me, and I'm also a beginner at it, so I just don't share a lot of it. I have showed you my goals journal for 2020, and this was my book for 2019 that I made. I'm pretty sure this was 19, and this was my very first journal with signatures, and I went multiple signatures and made it super junky. And I love it. This one makes me happy. It has only things in it that were hand selected for me. And the cover is a paint skin, like a paint. It's waste from paint pouring. And so is the inside. And they have completely different textures and they're amazing. The way I chose my cereal boxes today for my cover was very scientific. I like this size. This size was a little small. This was my December daily, and I really liked this size. That was it. So what it comes down to is Triscuit boxes work really nice, but it's a little fat and a little small. So I wanted something bigger. So I just decided to use cereal boxes and cut them down a little bit. I'm going to leave them wider than this, but I liked this height. I don't think I want it any longer than this. So I went through my, cupboard of shame, and I found two cereal boxes that I think are going to layer pretty nicely. They're not exactly the same size, which is pretty much what I was trying for. If I only had one cereal box, I didn't have two layers, I could fold these in and reinforce it and glue it. I'm not going to do any of that because I don't care. If you want true tutorials and you want to learn from an expert, don't watch me do this. I've made a couple journal covers and I get the job done and I have fun doing it. So if that's more your style, then sure, watch me. I don't even have a metal straight edge. I'm probably not gonna measure things, and I'm gonna love it in the end. I mean, you saw my blue journal. It's a complete mess and it makes me so happy. Junk journaling is about what do you like. There isn't a science, there isn't a formula or a ratio. Put 3 things of this color and then go through and find something from a catalog and something from a magazine and something from your junk mail. No, it's not a formula. I think your best measure is, does it bring you joy? Okay, I'm gonna edit all of this out because you now know that I'm using cereal boxes and you have scissors or cutting devices. So we're just gonna cruise on through all this and get to the point where we have 2 cereal boxes cut to the size that I like. I cut my cereal boxes down with just scissors, and here I'm showing you the bottle for my PVA glue. This I bought because I thought I was going to make a bunch of journals and I really needed this. I've only used it a couple times and it's a giant bottle. That's why I'm using it for this project. In the next parts where I do the inside and outside of the cover, I'll show you other options for adhesive. Again, don't look at this as an expert video. This is just somebody showing you how you could make a journal from household items. I'm sure that you have cereal boxes or cracker boxes. Also, the blue scissors that I was using in the first part of this video, they're tonic. I'm pretty sure they're tonic. They're blue. Do not buy those scissors. They have to be retightened on a regular basis and they make me crazy. You'll notice that on my mat right now, there's a set of black scissors. Those scissors I do like, but one side is serrated. They are great for projects like this. I wish I had the bigger ones for projects like this, but I don't like them for card making. Here I'm using my pokey tool because it's a go-to for everything, not just die cutting.
and my glue was stuck because I hadn't used it in a while. I don't really know how much glue you're supposed to use or the best way to do this. If I was redoing this, I would take the grape nuts box and lay it down, because the glue makes that layer that you put it on warp a little bit more, I think. So I would have put it on the coated one, and it's also the inside one. So I laid this on the outside box, and that one just spends, it's just wetter, right? I'm laying it all on there. It's really goopy. So maybe it would warp less if I did the other one. I don't think it really matters. I mean, look how much glue I'm using. It's going to warp. I'm sure that there are bookmaker people watching this going, oh my gosh, that's fine. I'm just a lady having a great time with a giant bottle of glue. Then my plan was I went back around the very edge just to make sure that I got it. And I didn't use a straight edge on these cereal boxes. You'll see when I put them together. And to smear it, I'm using like a hotel key card. I have a bunch of them for mixed media and art journaling. I always have one handy, and I'm just using it to get it all over. If I could use a brush, but then I'd have to wash it. I could use like a plastic bag kind of to smear it. I could use my hands. I could use all sorts of things, but I just decided to use one of those because I have a bunch of them, and I don't even usually clean them. I just set it aside and let it dry. I added a bit more because I didn't fill in. I think that in this collaboration with Melodi from Making Memories with Melodi here on YouTube, as we put our journals together, and she's not making a cover like this, so this part isn't necessarily parallel, but as we make our journals, you're going to see that I don't have a lot of experience junk journaling and making journals. What I do have is a lot of fun. So you'll see somebody who has more experience, and then you'll see somebody who gets the job done. And one thing, when I put my journals together, I've made a couple of different books, and then over the years, just from making little handmade photo albums and stuff, be sure they bend. If you get your paper too tight or you don't have that crease, you can make it so that your book cover doesn't want to be a book cover. It just wants to be flat. So that's why I keep rebending it. And then, of course, I had glue everywhere because that's how I roll. So I just grabbed a rag and wiped off a lot of the excess so that I wasn't in a lake. And then no matter what wet adhesive you're using or substances, you need to flatten it out. So I just grabbed this Ranger scraper thing that I use on my glass mat. I could also use a bone folder. I could use like some sort of plastic spatula type thing from the kitchen. Anything that would flatten that out. Just something that's probably not going to snap and bother you. And I'm just going along the edges and getting all that extra glue out. Sorry about the focus. It just didn't autofocus and I didn't notice. That's the problem with process videos, right? So here you can see I'm using my ruler. That's another good thing to use. So whatever you have in your craft room, you don't have to run out and buy something to make a cereal box journal. Just mopping up the extra because I had it everywhere and straightening out the edges a little. You'll notice I didn't perfectly cut my edges. Like I didn't get out a straight edge and a blade and cut them. I just cut them with scissors, sized them up and thought, yeah, that's pretty good. And I think that it'll be great and I'll be perfectly happy with it. For now, except for finding the lid for the glue, which is probably the hardest part of the whole project, it's done. It just needs to sit. If you want to make a journal like this, find yourself some cracker boxes, cereal boxes, some sort of packaging. If you use wet adhesive, allow dry time. If you'd rather use double-sided tapes or something like that, watch the next video in this series and you'll see how I did the inside and the outside. Use what you have. You do not have to run out and buy supplies to make these projects. That's the beauty of junk journaling. You can roll with whatever you have. Here, I'm just getting the goop off because it will dry, but I don't want any glue lumps. So I'm just making sure that it's smoothed out as best I can. And then I just left it and walked away for a couple days. Thanks so much for watching. I'll be back again soon to cover the inside and outside with beautiful color. Bye-bye.